Hey everybody, this is Andy. Long time no see. My kids are back in school. I'm wearing sunglasses because just like that cool youth pastor that we all knew when we were kids, the Bible is cool. That's what I'm telling you. This is Genesis chapter 31. Is it chapter 31? It is chapter 31. So let's go into this great story that we have about the flight, about fleeing from enemy territory back into the arms of a loving God. And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of that which was our father's hath he gotten in glory. So for those of you who are just tuning in, Jacob, he was working for Laban. Laban was the dude who kind of tricked Jacob into working with him for many, many years, tricked Jacob into marrying his not so pretty first daughter Leah so that Jacob could marry the second hot daughter. Let's continue. I don't want to break the narrative flow too much with exposition. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. And the Lord said unto Jacob, Return unto the land of thy fathers, and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel, the hot younger wife, and Leah, it's Leah, to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that is not toward me as before, but the God of my father hath been with me. And ye shall know with all my power I have served your father. And your father hath deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times. But God suffered him not to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckled shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckled. And if he said thus, the ring-straked means straight, be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ring-straked. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father, and given them to me. That's an interesting interpretation of events. Jacob, using high-tech Old Testament animal husbandry, was able to make speckled livestock and ring-straked, striped livestock. You have to watch the last video to really, or read the Bible, Genesis chapter 30, to get the full story. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived that I lifted up mine eyes, and I saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ring-straked, speckled, and grizzled. And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift now thine eyes, and see, all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-straked, speckled, and grizzled. For I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointed the pillar, and where thou vowed a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out of this land, and return into the land of thy kindred. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Good question. Their father, though crooked, was loaded. Are we not counted of him strangers? For he hath sold us, and hath quite devoured also our money. For all the riches which God hath taken from our father, that is ours and our children's. Now then, whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do. It's funny how people want you to do what God tells you to do, as long as it agrees with what they think, with what they want you to do. Then Jacob rose up, and set his sons and his wives upon camels. And he carried away all his cattle, and all his goods where he had gotten, and the cattle of his getting, which he had gotten. Gotta love that. In Pandaram, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images. Now okay, let me continue. And Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. The images that were her father's are the household gods, the little statues a person of Laban's status would have in his house. His gods. And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, in that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had. And he rose up and passed over the river, and set his face toward the Mount Gilead. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but it is what it is. And it was told Laban on the third day that Jacob had fled. So Jacob had 3 days head start. And he took his brethren with him, and pursued with him 7 days' journey. And they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream that night, and said unto him, Take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent on the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the Mount of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, What hast thou done? That thou hast stolen away unawares from me, and carried away my daughters as captives, taken with the sword. Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly, and steal away from me? And didst not tell me that I might have sent thee away with myrrh, and with songs, with tabret, and with harp. Tabret are little tambourines women would play, just to let you know. And hast not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters? Thou hast done foolishly in so doing. It is in the power of my hand to do hurt. But the God of your father spake to me yesternight, saying, Take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. I guess that means don't touch a hair on his head, or else. And now, though thou wouldst need be gone, because thou sore longest after thy father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? Where did the gods go? And Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, for I said, Thou wouldst take by force thy daughters from me. With whomsoever thou findest my gods, let him not live. Before our brethren discern you, what is time with me, and take it to thee? For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. And Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the 2 maidservants' tent. Those are 6 slaves, by the way. But he found them not. Then he went out to Leah's tent, and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the images, and put them in the camel's furniture, and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. That's because they were under her butt. And she said to her father, Let it not displease my lord, that I cannot rise up before thee. For the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not the images. And Jacob was wroth, and showed with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, Where is my trespass? What did I do wrong? What is my sin, that thou hast so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff. That's what the English translation is. The English Standard Bible says, Where's my stuff? You have searched all my stuff. Odd choice of wording for me. What hast thou found in all thy household stuff? Set it here before my brethren and thy brethren, that they may judge betwixt us both. This 20 years I have been with thee. Thy ewes and she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts I brought not before thee. I bear the loss of it. Of my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was in the day. The drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus I have been 20 years in thy house. I have served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for my cattle. And thou hast changed my wages 10 times. Except the God of my father, the God Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely thou hast sent me away now empty. God hath seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked you, or thee. We know what he's talking about. Rebuked thee yesternight. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle. And all that thou seest is mine, and what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which they have been born. Now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. And Jacob took a stone, and set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, Gather stones. And they took stones, and made a heap. And they did not eat there upon the heap. I guess heaps of stones were pretty popular at that time for worshiping. And Laban called it Jagar-Sadutha, but Jacob called it Galeed. And Laban said, This heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Galeed. And Mitzvah, for he said, The Lord watch between me and thee, when we are absent from another. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives besides my daughters, no man is with us. See, God is witness between me and thee. And Laban said to Jacob, Behold this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast betwixt me and thee. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I shall not pass over this heap to thee, and that thou shalt not pass over this heap and this pillar into me for harm. The God of Abraham, and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge betwixt us. And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mount, and he called his brethren to eat bread. And they did eat bread, and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning Laban rose up, and kissed his sons and daughters, and blessed them. And Laban departed, and returned unto his place. Well, there you go. That is chapter number 31 in Genesis, in the English Standard Translation of the so-called good book. Laban, not a great guy. Rachel, she wanted what she wanted. She wanted hers. So she took his gods and sat on them so her dad couldn't find them. I don't know what the moral of that story is supposed to be. But at least we didn't have any baby deaths. We didn't have God killing people. We didn't have any skulls of babies crushed against rocks. So that's a small win for the Bible, right? Nothing too horrible happened. But what does Genesis number 32 have in store for us? I guess we'll just have to wait until next time. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. Take care.